The way people get into disc golf is sometimes very different. Lots of players grow up playing it, family members and such get you into the sport, and that's why you love it. Today, we're going to take a look at how a very different path was taken to the pro level. This is the story of Brodie Smith, famous YouTube phenom turned disc golf pro. His story is drastically different to a lot of pros. That's one reason why it's so good. Another is how he took over the limelight of the sport for a while and had all eyes on him. It's been up and down, there's a lot to get to, so let's hop right into it. This is the Brodie Smith project, and whether it's been a success or failure. I first saw Brodie Smith a long time ago on a YouTube video. Probably like a lot of you, when he started doing trick shots, that's when he started getting a lot of notoriety. The Dude Perfect trick shot video was awesome, and that's how a lot of people got to see Brodie. At the time, he was an ultimate player, playing for the University of Florida, winning 2 national championships, then playing semi-pro right after that. After some knee issues, Brodie turned to golf, where he was close to trying to go pro, but instead stuck with the YouTube grind. He was also on The Amazing Race, which is pretty cool. 2.2 million YouTube subscribers, over 390 million views, making Brodie Smith a top-tier content creator. And this is all before he got into disc golf. At the time of doing YouTube and being an ultimate player, Brodie received a lot of comments that he would be really good at disc golf. He had been in videos with Simon Lizotte and Paul McBeth already, one of them on Jumma's Pro, where they taught him a lot about the sport. This was in late 2019. So in 2020, he decided to turn to disc golf. But before he did, he reached out to some disc golf companies looking to be partnered in this journey. Brodie was a big personality with a lot to offer any company. So once he signed a disc golf contract, his story had begun. On January 17, 2020, Brodie Smith would sign with Discraft. Discraft isn't just a disc golf company, they work alongside Ultimate as well and had already worked with Brodie. But this contract wasn't about Ultimate, this was purely a disc golf contract to see what he could become. This signing would allow Brodie's followers to be flies on the wall, watching the ups and downs of his journey in the sport. Immediately after signing with Discraft, we got some amazing content from Brodie, covering his Build the Bag with Paul McBeth, where they went step by step on what Brodie needed. Every step of the way, we got to see Brodie and Paul make a bag. Not just for a pro, but for someone who is new to the sport. Practice rounds, his first moments out on the course, we got to see it all. A lot of his videos had McBeth in it, so you were getting to see where McBeth was at for his level compared to Brodie. A beginner in the sport, but a great athlete. Brodie had the company, he had the help from McBeth, and of course he had the following. As the 2020 season was about to begin, the pandemic was beginning to hit the United States. 2020 season may have been a bit funky, but we were all ready to see what Brodie was going to do. Right away in the 2020 season, Brodie would be thrown up against the best of the best. Waco is always a fun event to watch, but for the first time being on tour, it's a hard course to show up at. Brodie struggled, and it wasn't surprising. First event out on tour with new discs and a new pandemic. Only 2 rounds were played, and at least Brodie didn't finish in last. 80th place out of 113. With a lot of moving parts from the tour with tournaments being cancelled and such, Brodie played in what he could. DDO, he would finish at 97th. D-Glow, he would finish at 70th. Idlewild and Ledgestone, he would again fail to crack the top 70. That was it for Brodie on the highest level for disc golf. The rest of the year would be spent playing smaller tournaments, honing his skills for the next season. We did get some really great highlights from Brodie during the year though, especially one shot that I hadn't seen before and was pretty excited about.
Let's go! Let's go!
How's that feel?
Come on!
At the end of the 2020 season, Brodie would extend his contract with Discraft for 2 more years. His highest finish on the Pro Tour was 70th, but he did capture a B-tier win and have some good moments. A learning year for Brodie, time for the 2021 swing to take over. The Las Vegas Challenge showed a new Brodie Smith. He had been grinding in the offseason and it paid off. He rose up the leaderboard to be within 5 shots of the lead after round 1. Brodie would hang around the top 20 before dropping back to 25th during the final round. He played great and he had his best finish yet.
He's like 70 feet out.
Yes! No way! Yes!
Oh my.
Oh, wow.
I take it back, Brodie. Unbelievable.
The Elite Series events for Brodie were a lot better than in 2020, but where he truly shined was the Silver Series. His best finish on the year would be 8th place at the Goat Hill Challenge. Brodie would be in 3rd place after 2 rounds, but would struggle a bit during the final round. Still a great finish, and he used this momentum at a lot of other Silver Series. 21st at Resistance Disc Open, and 11th at Delwood's Clash at the Canyons. National Tour, Elite Series, and Silver Series. In total, Brodie would have 11 top 30s. His best Elite Series finish would be at the Portland Open, where he went up 27 spots during the final round to finish at 13th place. First time playing major championships for Brodie was a big deal. He would come in at 40th for the Worlds, but would struggle at USDGC, placing 71st. his worst finish all year. In 2020, Brodie would finish the Disc Golf Pro Tour standing tied for 232nd. In 2021, he would come in at 46th. He did make the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, but he was close. A great year, a top 50 player with some rounds in the year that were held up against the best. For the start of 2022, Brodie didn't seem that much better than where he was at in 2021. He may have been throwing the disc better, a better putter, but he wasn't finishing any higher, until the crazy event at the Dynamic Disc Open. Just a few years playing disc golf, and Brodie Smith was able to bear the crazy wins that a lot of other pros were not. After the first round at DDO, I was shocked to see Brodie's name tied for second place. Okay, Brodie, here we go. Let's see if you can pull together 4 really good rounds and stay in the hunt. Round 2, he did just that. Ricky Wysocki was starting to pull ahead, but Brodie now had solo second place. The tournament was brutal for everyone except Ricky, but Brodie fought hard and was still tied for second going into the final round. Back-to-back lead cards for Brodie. He was finally getting a lot of exposure and pressure on him. During the final round, Brodie would start to stumble. The weather had cleared up and it wasn't as hard as the earlier rounds, so when other players started to go low, it looked like a bad round for Brodie. But he fought really hard, and then he reached hole 15.
In for birdie.
And then this drive on 16.
Very calm at the moment.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Oh,
wow.
Brodie with a beautiful shot. I thought he was going to ring.
And this approach shot on 17.
Fantastic effort from back there.
Yeah, he's carrying that over out of bounds. Brodie is doing the same with the big hyzer.
How could he even muster up
Wow.
the power to do that?
Finally, birdie putt on 18 for Brodie to move into a tie for third place, his first podium finish on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. After that, he quieted down a bit, but instead of finishing well at like 50 to 40, Brodie was often in the top 30 to 20 range. He did grab another top 10 at D-Glow, which would be his only other top 10 on the year. Brodie would have rounds here and there, get off to really good starts, then fall back a bit. But this year would not be over for Brodie. After finishing the season with a lot of points, he would come in at 27th on the standings, high enough to not only qualify for the Disc Golf Pro Tour, but also to advance to the first round. Brodie would struggle a bit in Charlotte, only top 4 advancing after each round, and Brodie just got off to a slow start. His season may have been over, but he was officially a top 30 ranked Disc Golf Pro. Not top tier yet, but for sure on that rising level, getting closer. If you look at Brodie when he started in 2020 to now, it's pretty remarkable how much better he has got. In the 2019 video with Simon and Paul where he doesn't know anything about the game to now, where he's a top 30 player, it's honestly crazy. As the sport gets bigger and bigger and more players come and go, we get a completely different caliber of player. Some of these young guys have so much power, we've never seen anything like it. And now you have Brodie up at the top competing with the best. He hasn't been playing for years like the rest of these guys. His experience is pretty much only out on tour. But he has been throwing discs for a long time and brings a lot of athleticism and work ethic. Brodie's been on tour full time for 2 years now. 2020 was kind of like a half. In 2021, he finished ranked 46th. Just 1 year later, he would finish 27th. Brodie could easily be a top 20 player next year. I got into disc golf at the same time Brodie did, so being along for his journey while I'm learning about the sport has been awesome. I always look to see where he finishes on the leaderboard, even if he's not at the top. In that sense, he's been a success. He's gotten so many people to watch the start to finish to becoming a disc golf pro, it's gained a lot for the sport. And when we look at him as a player, it's also a huge success. Top 27 on tour after 3 years. That's insane. Brodie Smith, the Disc Golf Project, a success for sure. Now I just can't wait to see what he's got for us in 2023. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to check out my channel. Plenty of other videos just like this one. Alright, we'll see you next time. Cheers.